So let's go ahead and get started with your New Mexico dealer continuing education course with some updated contact information for the New Mexico Motor Vehicle Divisions. That's the Dealer License Bureau, and they're located at 505 Marquette Northwest, Suite 1501, Albuquerque, New Mexico 87102. The Dealer License Bureau phone number is 505 383 2316. In Unit 1 of your dealer continuing education course, we're going to cover dealer industry trends, some law revisions, and then I'm going to show you how to contact the governor and your lawmaker. Then I'm going to give you a quick overview of how to renew your dealer license in the quickest and most efficient manner. First, let's delve right into current dealership trends. Several automotive industry trends are really impacting the future of every motor vehicle dealership in New Mexico and across the country. These trends involve how vehicles are powered, driven, shopped for, and how dealers acquire them for resale. Here are some trends that will have an effect on our industry in the very near future. Increased production of electric cars with digital technology. Automakers continue to integrate more digital technology into their vehicles. Technology companies like Google and Tesla are also working on self-driving cars. And the latest Honda Accord, for example, has Google built right in. So Honda's next Accord will be the automaker's first vehicle to support Google built-in integration, enabling native Android apps to have over-the-air software updates. And it's the branding that Google uses for cars that support Google Automotive Services. And it refers to when a car has Google apps like Google Assistant and Google Maps and Google Play Store directly integrated into the vehicle, so you don't even need to have a phone to access them. These operating systems will be directly implemented into vehicles, and that's a little bit different than the Android operating system that most manufacturers now have. So with this ability to use all these Google Automotive Services, a customer won't even need a phone anymore. And that's something I think that we definitely need to be aware of as the latest state-of-the-art technology does integrate into these new vehicles. It's a new concept for many automakers to add functionality through software updates after purchasing the vehicle. As a result, it's clear that vehicles produced this year and beyond are going to be full of technology to address digital touchpoints. And there's fierce competition to develop software and the digital electronic operating systems to power and control these new innovative vehicles. And these new vehicles are going to be filled with digital technology. And I think this is a trend that every motor vehicle dealer should be aware of. We're going to see a rise in digital automotive sales throughout the United States. So dealers are going to have to give consumers the option to skip the visit to the car dealership and pick and purchase the vehicles they want online. With a computer or smartphone, buyers can shop at their convenience, and they can explore vehicles that you have, and they can get the financing that they need as well. In addition, dealerships can now offer online sales and then also let online buyers use virtual walk-around technology and do home deliveries of the vehicles that dealers are selling. I always want you to be aware, though, that you must still only conduct retail sales activity at your retail location. And we're going to discuss that brand new law here in just a few moments. You always want to ensure that you sell a vehicle before delivering a vehicle to the customer's home. If you take a vehicle to show at a customer's home before it's sold, then you will be in violation of the new online retail sales activity law that, like I said, we'll discuss here in a few moments. So always make sure that you can show a paper trail that shows the vehicle was sold before delivering any vehicle to a customer's home. There are a lot of companies now that will allow you to basically copy and paste a loan application into your website so the customer can apply for a loan and be approved for a loan before they even arrive to your dealership. So you can close that deal and ship the vehicle to the customer, sometimes without the customer even needing to visit your dealership. So more dealerships are going to need to look at this new sales process that is going to be expected by most of our customers. Something else we're looking at is increased sales of pre-owned vehicles, which is good for used motor vehicle dealers, obviously. There's a boom in the used car sales going on that we haven't seen in some time, and we're seeing a lot more inventory coming through the dealer auction lanes that's allowing us to keep more inventory on the lot right now, especially compared to a couple of years ago. Car industry experts anticipate a 9% growth rate in used car sales between now and 5 years from now. That's a very large and significant increase that all dealers will need to prepare for. The demand for used motor vehicles is rising, particularly for vehicles that are 4 years old or newer. And these newer vehicles have that technology that we talked about. Some customers are really going to expect that technology. They're trying to avoid the higher prices of new vehicles. And this is going to include pre-owned, electric, and hybrid vehicles as well. I always recommend getting hold of as many electric and hybrid vehicles that you can, as customer demand for these are going to only skyrocket. Dealerships now have inventories full of certified pre-owned autos that look and feel and function like new cars, but are much less cost. Low current APR financing is also helping making pre-owned vehicles very attractive for customers right now and in the immediate future. We're also looking at more connected cars. Connected cars are vehicles that are connected to the internet and make a very convenient driving experience for all of our customers. These vehicles, they provide a safe, comfortable, convenient multimedia experience by using on-demand features that allow you to do anything you want on the web while you're in the vehicle, hopefully not while they're driving. Connected cars can communicate with various other systems outside their local network, and the vehicles can share internet access and data with devices inside and outside the car. Connected cars now send digital data and remote diagnostics, vehicle health reports, data-only telemetrics, and they also access Wi-Fi hotspots. They can get turn-by-turn directions. And one of the important things of this is they're going to be able to warn of a car health issue and directly intervene to hopefully prevent breakdowns. Connected car technology is going to explode on the scene right now, and I do believe that every motor vehicle dealer should be attempting to acquire late model vehicles with more technology and the ability to connect with the internet. The sale of these vehicles is only going to increase dramatically. We also need to look at more innovative online marketing strategies. Many automobile dealers are using third-party e-commerce platforms to market cars, to schedule vehicles, and to also book in-house test drives. Another thing we need to be aware of, social media influencers are going to significantly engage customers and generate interest in the new vehicles that are currently hitting the market. New technology is going to engage customers digitally with compelling images, captivating presentations, and potent pitches. Car buyers can expect to be hit with many more social media influencers marketing cars and trucks in the immediate future. So if you've got a camera and a YouTube account, you can definitely become a social media influencer and try to market your vehicles online in that manner as well. Here's an interesting tidbit that I want you to be aware of: the emergence of fuel cell electric vehicles. We're now seeing an explosion in the manufacturing of fuel cell electric vehicles. More and more people are embracing fuel cell electric vehicles because they recharge faster, they have up to 5 times the range of a normal electric vehicle, and they only emit water out of the tailpipe. I want to repeat that. They only emit water vapor out of their tailpipes. So many cars, trucks, and SUV manufacturers are really making substantial investments in fuel electric vehicle technology. You know, countries like China, Germany, Japan, South Korea, and the United States are backing fuel cell electric auto technology. So in the very near future, I think we could really see this technology break through and explode. Something else we need to be aware of: self-driving vehicles. They're coming and they're here to stay. You know, the growth of self-driving vehicles will affect the operation of any dealership, and we need to prepare for this. Companies from Google to General Motors have poured billions of dollars into the pursuit of self-driving technology. These vehicles are going to really usher in an era of consumer safety and convenience, and experts are promising they're going to be immensely valuable product for car makers and for motor vehicle dealers. Self-driving vehicles will be more prevalent now than they ever have in the past. Research has really been showing that autonomous cars are safer, they reduce downtime, they reduce driver fatigue, and they actually reduce accidents that are caused by human error. They will improve fuel efficiency by 10%, and they reduce CO2 emissions by 42 million metric tons every year. Several trucking companies have installed self-driving technology and have tested it at locations nationwide. I do believe, and it's been proven, that it will become commonplace to see a fleet of autonomous self-driving commercial trucks or a self-driving Tesla in the lane next to you. And I do believe that all dealers need to be very aware of this. We're also going to see more truck platooning. Another automotive industry trend that you're going to see is truck platooning. And this is when multiple trucks use vehicle-to-vehicle connectivity to drive close behind each other while traveling at high speeds. Truck platooning will become more commonplace in the immediate future and beyond. And research has shown that trucks driving in this type of formation actually increase their fuel efficiency exponentially. Truck platooning is particularly effective when being used in combination with autonomous freight transport. As autonomous self-driving trucks become more commonplace on the road, so will the use of truck platooning. Automakers also and technology company partnerships are going to see a growth in partnerships. So with the rapid rate at which new technological advances are being added to cars and other vehicles, it's not surprising to see automakers and technology companies forming these new partnerships. Electric, connected, and autonomous vehicles, they require specialized software and advanced technology to function safely and correctly. Car, truck, and SUV manufacturers must either make massive investments in their technology divisions or partner with a tech company that can design, produce, and operate the new operating systems in this next generation of technologically advanced automobiles that we're going to see. Now you're going to see many more automobile manufacturers and tech company partnerships. So I'm a big believer that every motor vehicle dealer should be aware of these trends so you can plan on preparing your dealership for the newest, most profitable ways to run your business. I really hope that you found that information beneficial. Next, I think every dealer in the state should also be aware of these dealership statistics. Before we have an overview, in just a few minutes, I'm going to show you how to contact your lawmaker. And when you contact your lawmaker, these statistics should be a part of that conversation. We need to let every lawmaker know the financial impact that licensed motor vehicle dealers have not only on New Mexico's economy, but on the nationwide economy as well. The automobile dealer industry's importance to the U.S. economy is absolutely undisputed. From providing employment to millions of people to being a major driver of the economy's manufacturing sector. Car ownership has not only shaped the economy, but has long been a centerpiece of the American way of life. The emerging automotive trends are caused by and are creating several significant changes in the habits of consumers. So here's 10 must-know statistics that can help you see these trends impact. In the United States, automobile dealerships and auto parts stores make up 20% of the country's retail sales. 20% of the United States retail sales. And that is the largest sector of U.S. retail sales. Last year, the automobile dealer industry in the United States employed 4.1 million people and contributed $562.2 billion to the country's gross domestic product. That's 2.5% of the United States gross domestic product. And here's another statistic regarding electric vehicles. Electric vehicles release 54% fewer CO2 emissions into the atmosphere than even the newest gas-powered vehicles. There are currently 1.2 million electric vehicles in use in the United States, and there's expected to be 18.7 million electric vehicles on the road in the United States by the next decade. So we definitely need to prepare this as licensed motor vehicle dealers. Under the North America Free Trade Agreement, 75% or more of the components of American cars must be manufactured in the United States, Canada, or Mexico. Currently, vehicles assembled in the U.S. are made with about 40 to 50% of imported parts. Of the auto workers building these cars, 30% or more are earning $16 an hour or more, and that number is going to increase to 40% in the next year. So we're really seeing wages increase in the industry. So the manufacture and sale of motor vehicles are a huge economic driver for the entire United States and New Mexican economy. The self-driving truck market is expected to be $1.6 billion in the next decade. about 50% of small businesses say they will have truck fleets that will be completely self-driving in 20 years. So we need to be able to acquire these vehicles and resell them to our customers. We are also a very large generator of sales tax for the state as well. Think about this. Every single time you sell a vehicle, your customer is required to pay motor vehicle excise tax. So the more vehicles you sell, the more money the state makes in motor vehicle sales tax revenue. Always, always share that information with any lawmaker that you ever have a discussion with. Next, I want to cover the latest law revisions out of Santa Fe. And then I want to show you how to correctly renew your dealer's license. First, I want to cover the most recent updates to New Mexico laws that affect dealers throughout the state. As a reminder, because we do discuss the laws that are coming out of Santa Fe every year. And I want you to always be aware, New Mexico's legislative session normally convenes on the middle of January, and they adjourn usually about the middle of March. And any bills that are signed by the governor are chaptered and become law on June 16th of every year, unless another date is specified. Any legislation that's not signed or vetoed by the governor by the first week of April was pocket vetoed, which means the bill has died and will not become New Mexico law. As a reminder, I'm sure you're aware of this by now, but I want to give you a quick reminder. Your old CRS number is now your New Mexico Business Tax ID number. And, the TAP website has been completely redesigned to reflect that change. And we're going to go over tax filings later on in the course. If you ever have questions about gross receipts tax or filings or any other tax questions, you can call TRD 866-285-2996. And you can also email them grt.trdhelp@state.nm.us. And there on the screen, you'll be able to see all that information. I want to remind you, if you click that Files button at the very top there, the Files button at the top of the screen, you can download this entire PowerPoint presentation with all that contact information. And I hope that you find that helpful as well. So first of all, I do think an important component of any dealer education course, including a dealer continuing education course, is to go over new laws. And now I do want to cover the most recent laws that have been signed by the governor and now are in fact state law. These are now state laws. The legislation that we're getting ready to discuss, as I stated, has been signed by the governor and they are now New Mexico law. Some of them may affect the operation of your dealership and some may just affect you outside the dealership. So let's take a look at the brand new laws, and there are a lot of changes that we're getting ready to discuss here. The first bill I want to take a look at is this one right here, good old House Bill 62, which was introduced by Representative Ream year after year after year, and now has been signed by the governor after years and years of attempts. So I want to read you the text right here, okay? So one thing I want you to be very aware, and I'm going to read it right out of the law, okay? As a New Mexico licensed dealer or the holder of a security interest filed shall not sell a vehicle or offer a motor vehicle for sale at a location other than the licensed dealer's established place of business. As a vehicle shall not be deemed offered for sale at a location other than the licensed dealer's established place of business if the vehicle is in use for a purpose other than to sell or offer that. So, a New Mexico dealer shall not sell a vehicle or offer a motor vehicle for sale at a location other than the licensed established place of business. And I want you to be very aware, the MVD has been very clear with me to instruct you that all retail sales activity must take place at your licensed location only. And let's just run through this. Let's say you're located in Albuquerque and you have a customer from Santa Fe that contacts you and asks you to meet them in a parking lot in Bernalillo to show them a vehicle. Well, that's off-site retail sales activity, and that's never allowed. And now it actually is written in state law. So be sure all your retail sales activity takes place only at your licensed location. Now, this is finally written into state law, so make sure. House Bill 62 is now state law, and be sure you only have retail sales at your licensed location. Here's some bills that passed that are also now New Mexico law. Let's talk about some of these. House Bill 102 was signed by the governor and allows a pass-through entity can elect on an annual basis to pay tax at the entity level for the taxable year. So the tax may be elected to be paid as the entity level tax. So what this bill did is require net income subject to the entity level tax to become exempt from income tax. And I don't think this will really affect a lot of licensed motor vehicle dealers. It may, but it may not. But I always want to try and let you know about any changes to the state's tax code. Senate Bill 140, the Opportunity Scholarship Act. Scholarships shall be awarded to qualified eligible students in an amount not to exceed 100% of tuition and fees after all state financial aid has been applied for. I always want to let you know about scholarships in case you got some folks at home that maybe are looking to go to school. I think this could be helpful to save a dealer a little bit of money if they're paying tuition for, say, for example, a daughter or son getting ready to go to school. We got a lot of costs in this business, obviously, not just our dealership costs, but our family costs as well. House Bill 191, the occupational licensing residency requirement. A person who otherwise meets the requirements for a professional or occupational license shall not be denied licensure or relicensure because they do not live in the state of New Mexico. So you no longer have to live in a state to have an occupational license, such as a dealer's license. Next up, I want to talk about House Bill 191 and a couple of other ones that I want you to be aware as well. So the Venture Capital Program Act is created from the state, and the fund consists of appropriations, gifts, grants, deposits, and donations from the investment and from acquiring the fund. So the state's going to administer this fund, and the money in the fund can be appropriated to businesses throughout the state. And I always think it's a great idea to have funding mechanisms for any New Mexico business, including a business like yours, a dealership. So hopefully you as a licensed motor vehicle dealer will be able to definitely reap the rewards from these programs. Here, as you see, are some previous law revisions that I think every New Mexico dealer needs to be aware of. If you remember in the past, I want to discuss this because we discuss this every year. House Bill 148, the Small Business Recovery Fund, which once again extends the expiration of the Small Business Recovery Fund through the end of the year. The legislature in Santa Fe has extended the expiration date of this fund several times, and they've done it again. If you recall, we've discussed this fund in the past. If your business has an annual net revenue of less than $5 million in the subsequent tax years and experience a substantial disruption or substantial decline in revenue, then you will be able to apply for this fund. So most businesses will be eligible based on the substantial disruption definition. If you have further questions, you can certainly call 505-984-1454 and ask for client services. So if you remember that was started right after the pandemic. If you have suffered substantial financial losses, then you still can apply to the Small Business Recovery Fund. Still eligible. House Bill 132, interest rates for loans. This bill was signed by the governor and made changes to the New Mexico Bank Installment Loan Act and the New Mexico Small Loan Act. There are several components of this bill that I want to discuss. First of all, they raised the cap on loans that fall under the New Mexico Bank Installment Act from $5,000 up to $10,000. So the cap on this act is $10,000. Also, under the old law, the maximum percentage rate was 175%, and now it's been lowered to 36%, according to Regulation Z. And there are a lot of new components to this law that are beyond the scope of this dealer continuing education course. If you're a buy here, pay here dealer and you're financing your own vehicles, I'm always going to refer finance questions to your attorney. As I state every year in every other dealer educational course, and it's imperative that you seek some legal counsel when you're offering any type of financing to your customers. Senate Bill 39, it's always hard for me to say that, procurement preference changes. This new law changes the state procurement regulations, and this could affect you if you're ever presenting a proposal to sell something to the state. Now, say, for example, you submit a bid to the state for some motor vehicles. This would affect you, but more than likely it's going to affect a new motor vehicle franchise dealers, but there's nothing that prevents used motor vehicle dealers from submitting bids as well. And this language adds Native American-owned businesses to the law, which basically states if you're a veteran, or a Native American business owner and you submit a bid to the state of New Mexico, your bid will actually come in at 8 to 10% lower than the businesses that are not veteran owned or Native American owned as well. The next bill I would like to discuss is Senate Bill 13, Missing in New Mexico event. Under this new law, each year, the Department of Public Safety, in collaboration with the Clearinghouse, shall host a Missing in New Mexico event. And this will be in support of all New Mexicans who are searching for missing relatives. Next, I want to give you a quick overview of House Bill 20, which is now fully in effect as New Mexico law. This new law requires private employers, such as a dealer in the state of New Mexico with at least one employee, to provide paid sick leave to employees. And this includes part-time, seasonal, and temporary workers. So you must provide 1 hour for every 30 hours worked. I want to repeat that. It's very important that every dealer in the state knows about this new law. You must provide 1 hour of sick leave for every 30 hours that your employee has worked. There's no waiting period on this. An employee that you hired to work at your dealership must begin accruing hours on the day they were hired. There is absolutely no waiting period. You know, in the past, a business might give up to 60-day window before they started paying sick time. Well, there is no 60-day window anymore. You have to start allowing that employee to accrue time on the day they start. You are allowed, however, to do what's called front loading. You can front load that sick time by giving your employees like 64 hours of sick time on January 1st of every year. Sometimes we have employees that will front load sick time sometimes we have employers that will front load sick time for their employees. Now, if you already have sick time policy in your dealership and you meet these requirements, then obviously this law is not going to change the way you're doing things. But if you have employees and you're not providing sick time, you must provide at least 1 hour of sick time for every 30 hours worked. I want to repeat that one more time. You must start providing at least 1 hour of sick time for every 30 hours worked. So be sure you're complying with this new law. It is completely in effect. I also want you to be aware of Senate Bill 96, that's now law, and this has actually added a new section to the Criminal Offender Employment Act. You can no longer ask about an applicant's history of arrest or conviction on your employment application. So if you do have some old applications lying around and that you've been using to hire salespersons, make sure it does not ask anything about arrest history or convictions. If you've got an application that asks if someone has been in jail, then you would be in violation of the law. So please don't do this, okay? They've actually changed that. So real quick, we're going to talk about this a little bit more. I think one of the most important laws that we need to be aware of is House Bill 6, because you're constantly in search for new employees. So just make sure that you never have a job application that asks about arrest or criminal history. Senate Bill 437 is now completely in effect and is also now New Mexican law. The state minimum wage is now fully implemented under Senate Bill 437 and is now $12 an hour statewide. And I'm sure you're aware of this, but I want to give you that reminder. Some cities have higher minimum wages. So you can check the New Mexico Department of Workforce Solutions for current minimum wage guidelines throughout the state. And I'm going to show you how to do that here in just a little bit. So make sure you are always paying the correct minimum wage. The state minimum wage currently is $12 an hour, but there are cities that have higher minimum wages as well. Next, I want you to be aware of a very, very important federal law that has changed. So far, we've been talking about state laws out of Santa Fe, but now I want to talk about a federal law out of Washington that has changed regarding the safeguards portion of the Gramm-Leach-Bliley Privacy Act. The safeguards rule now, this is brand new by the way, now requires non-banking financial institutions such as motor vehicle dealerships that store applications for loans to develop, implement, and maintain a comprehensive security program to keep their customers' information safe, including you must now designate a qualified individual to oversee your information security program. Dealers must develop a written risk assessment. Dealers must limit and monitor who can access sensitive customer information. Dealers must encrypt all sensitive information. And you're also going to need to train your security personnel. All dealers that protect financial information such as loan applications and store those must develop an incident response plan and then periodically assess the security practices of your service providers and implement multi-factor authentication or some type of other method with equivalent protection for any individual accessing customer information. So that is a brand new update to the GLB safeguards rule. So make sure that you have a qualified individual to oversee your new security program. Very, very important that you are aware of that brand new federal law. Now I want to show you how to contact your lawmakers in a moment. But before you do, if you ever want to view bills that have been signed into law by the governor of the state of New Mexico, the governor's office actually makes it very easy to do that. And you can go to the official governor's website. That's going to be governor.state.nm.us. Once again, that is governor.state.nm.us. And there you're going to see the homepage of the governor's website. You know, if you ever have any questions, you can just hover your mouse over the very top right there and see, as I've done there, and you can click on the signed legislation. And then you're going to see right here all of the signed legislation. And you can click on any legislation there, and you're going to be able to easily view all the bills that were not only passed by the legislature in Santa Fe, but were in fact signed by the governor, which means they've either become law or they're going to be law very shortly. So that's a great way to keep up on brand new laws. And by the way, I'm always going to do my very best to update this course every time a new law goes into effect to assist you in maintaining your compliance. Just to let you know, you can also contact the governor at any time by clicking on the contact link, and then you can click on the contact the governor link from the drop-down box. And you know, I've actually used this link on more than one occasion to contact the governor's office, and the governor's office has responded to every single message that I've sent. And the emails that are returned have the governor's signature. And maybe she was the one reading it and responding. I hope that maybe she was, or maybe she had some staff doing that for her. But I thought that's pretty cool that you can contact the governor's office and always get a response from the governor. So I think that's pretty awesome. Now, with that being said, I want to show you, like I have in the past, if you're taking the course again, this will give you a quick review. I wanted to give you a reminder on how to track bills. We have to track bills because we want to track a bill before they get to the governor's desk, especially a bill that's bad for dealers in the state of New Mexico. So first, we're going to go to the New Mexico Legislature website at nmlegis.gov. And on the quick links, you can just scroll down and click on My Roundhouse. Then you're going to enter your email address there, and you will need to create a password. You're going to be sent an email to confirm your email address. And now we're going to enter a word to be tracked in every bill. So you might enter tax or employer, or if you want to track every bill that has the word dealer in it, I'm going to suggest that. You're going to simply enter dealer here. Then you're going to see every bill that has the word dealer in it. So let's say from this list, we want to track the old House Bill 46 dealership changes bill. And you would just select the bill that you want to follow. And then you check added, check legislation. And now you'll easily be able to track that bill along with any changes that are made in the bill. And I always want to make sure you're aware of any bills that could be floating through the legislature so we can track these bills and let our state reps and state senators know if they happen to be bad for New Mexico dealers. So definitely keep that in mind. You can also track websites in Washington. Bill Track 50, GovTrack US, Track Bill. These will help you track bills that are currently floating through Congress. I also want you to know how to contact your state representative or your state senator in case you do want to let them know you either support a good dealer bill or maybe you oppose a bad dealer bill. So we're going to go back to NMLegis. Now you just type in your home address under the House of Representatives or under the state Senate, and you'll be able to find contact information for your state representative or your state senator. And just as an example, I use the address of the state capitol in Santa Fe. So if you live near the state capitol and you want to find your state representative, you select House of Representatives, you enter your address there, and then you'll be able to find contact information for your state representative in the New Mexico House of Representatives. If you want to find your state senator, just leave the address in there and change the drop-down box to the Senate, and you'll be able to find your state senator as well. Now, you can also easily find your congressperson by clicking the congressional drop-down box that you see there, and then you'll easily be able to go to the House website and you can type in your zip code there, and you'll easily be able to find your United States representative or your senator. So you can find their contact information and you can send them contact information directly. And if you need to find your U.S. Senator's contact information, you can just go to senate.gov. And then once again, you're going to be able to choose New Mexico, and you'll easily be able to find contact information for both of the United States senators that come from New Mexico. So don't ever hesitate to inform any elected official that you're a dealer and you are a very, very large sales tax generator. And the more vehicles you sell, the more sales tax is generated for the state. So please don't ever hesitate to let your elected official know that you are a business owner and you're a voting business owner in their district. When you tell them you're a voter, they tend to pay quite a bit more of attention to you. So I hope you have found this information beneficial.